All right. So just a reminder here and also for the recording that we're going to cover relevant topics today and maybe in 2026 and 2027 and beyond, they become something different or we learn more about how to be great digital fundraisers. So please keep posted on everything we are posting now and in the future. All right. So look at everything we've accomplished so far. We have been through 2025 together. June, July, August, September, October, November. You have all participated in a great number of classes, and we're going to have Jen review some of the key points that you've already learned in the classes today, just to refresh and get everybody warmed up. We had a pause in December and January, and here we are, February 4th, and the topic today is the heart behind the gift. So using philanthropic psychology to elevate your fundraising. So I'm really excited for that. As you can see, we have 3 more after this, March, April, and May. All of those are posted in Canvas, so you can see and access those links there, and then as they come up, the Institute for Sustainable Philanthropy team is also sending reminders. All right, so for today, we're going to do a quick Canvas review. So in case anybody had any questions or needs access or reminder how to get there, we're going to talk about Canvas for a sec. We're going to go into program reminders and a review of 2025 learnings. We're going to hit on the learning objectives. And then we're going to go into the real content. So talking about donor identities, how you're creating connection through your content and fundraising, your fundraising case for support, and of course, exposing the heart behind fundraising. So what you all have been doing and what you all will do in 2026 to continue this heartfelt fundraising that you've been doing. All right. So a quick Canvas review, and also want to just say a quick shout out to Becky, who is your main girl, your main point of contact within Canvas if you need anything or have any questions. So we've shared here the Canvas link, so you can go back and log in, and you have access to all of those 2025 recordings, slide decks, exercises, all within Canvas, and then also on the nonprofit resources page on coloradogives.org. So just a quick reminder there as we jump into 2026. This is a quick screenshot to orient yourself. You can see all of the different modules once you log into Canvas, all of the different forums, discussion forums with all of your peers, and also session materials. So you have everything at your fingertips once you're able to log into Canvas. Here's just one more example here of discussions and how you might review all of the great discussions that happened in 2025 to inspire you this year. All right. Becky, will you hop off mute and say hello? I'd love for you to just say a quick hi to everybody on the call.
Hi, that's it. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Get back in the game and let's start this new year off on the right foot. We're really glad to be back with you. I know that, and I can't wait to see you in email, chat, and discussion forums.
Thanks so much. All right, and a quick reminder for everybody, this program goes until the end of May. And so you have access to both Catch a Fire, which is pro bono volunteers doing work for you or consulting on your behalf. You have access to that until 6/1/26. And similarly, you have access to the embeddable form on your Colorado Gives page until 6/1/26 for free. So those are 2 things to keep in mind as we roll towards May and June and the summer months. All right. I'm going to hand it over to Jen, if that makes sense at this point, to start to chat through some of the learning objectives.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jordan. Can you see me? Can you see my video? Okay, awesome. Just making sure that it's working. So a very warm welcome back to today. And like Jordan said, it has been a remarkable journey with you now up to this point. And today we're going to review 4 key learning objectives, and all of it geared towards help you think like a digital fundraiser wanting to create the biggest success you can create now in 2026. The countdown starts from 4th of February. It is official. So everything that we're going to talk about, your donors' identities, how you can help enhance their connectedness, competence, and autonomy, will help you think about how you can build the best fundraising case support in 2026 that will permeate all your channels. And the more consistently they can be done, the more successful your Colorado Gives Day will be, the more successful your digital channels activities will be, because as you have already learned now from all our previous learning, that integrated channels work the best when they're consistent. And of course, all the work that you have done with our copywriting class is about getting to the heart behind fundraising, to connect with the heart of your mission. So the more you can go deep in that early on now in February, using everything that you have learned in the last 6 months to solidify how you're going to make that connection this year, the better prepared you will be in November time to really make 2026 special. And guess what? As I was reviewing all the submissions that you have, all the discussions that you have had, both from the copywriting class and the discussion forums, I think this year you're going to create the Colorado Love Stay. There's so much love in the copy that you submitted. So thank you for everything that you have done up to this point. On the next slide, Jordan, we would like to officially start the countdown. And this might not exactly overlay with your own quarterly plan or your own 90-day plan, but I would like to suggest that you create a version of this that works with your own calendar, where you think about between now and your Colorado Gives Day 2026 as being 3 90-day periods away. And then so for the first 90-day period, what do you want your priorities to be in digital fundraising? It could be that it is create your overall case for support for the entire year, but think about it. How can you make that case for support digital friendly? Think about all the channels that you have learned. So even when you start thinking about that case for support, don't let go of the channel eventually that they will be deployed in. And then once you spend the time between February and April to think through your priorities, then you can think about what you're going to deploy in the second 90-day and the third 90-day. So have a think about it on the next slide. By reviewing your journey from the past. So go back, it's fine, Jordan. Yeah, go back up just one more slide. This, the next one. Yes, right there. This is not the first time you're going to go through this cycle in 2026. You've gone through it once already from 2025. So if you have 1 hour this week to review information before you march on, I would recommend go back to the Canvas system, go through your monthly journey since June last year, have a think about what you were able to do and what you were not able to do, and what is realistic and feasible in terms of planning your 2026. And think about this through channel specific perspectives like your email, your website, and your social media, and your overall retention journey. The difference is that this year you are doing it for the second time. So you have a lot more experience now. You have gone through each single channel individually. Now you are so capable that you can think about all 4 elements together and begin to prioritize. If I have only 5 hours every month to think about how I can make my Colorado stay successful, how am I going to spend that 5 hours, which should be set aside and not to implement your business as usual activities? They should be the 5 hours you review, you strategize and you deploy purposefully. And I repeat, they should not be your business as usual activities. Give yourself those 5 hours to plan and to reflect. And then on the next slide, you will see after a little break that you have in December and January, which is well deserved, we have 4 more monthly webinars coming up. Kicking off starting from today, I will help you think through your case support in 3, 4 different perspectives, building on your learning from last year. But then you will have the next 3 webinars to support you to think through what are your big wins? What have been your insights? What do you need to do next? And to build your checklist to actually personalize your recipe for success this year. It doesn't matter what other people do. What matters is you know why you do what you do this year. And you have learned so much from 2025. You can begin to build that argument and perfectly invest both your time and your financial resources. So coming May, when you deploy these strategy, you will feel like you're operating from a much leveled up perspective. That's what we would like to help you feel coming 13th of May. Are we excited? We can all feel like that coming 13th of May. So that's our goal. Thank you. Amazing. That's exactly how we want to take this. So take a deep breath. We're getting started. We're going to review key learning, but most importantly, you're going to spend some time to review the key learning. For the next few slides, I'm not going to talk through every point, but I will tell you what is available. What we have here is a summary of the top 3 lessons that you learned from June, next slide, in July, next slide, in August. So you will have your 5 webinars summarized here in terms of key learning. We also told you why we want you to do the discussion forum in association with these webinars. They provide you the way of thinking about how to prepare for success, how to segment your donors, understand them, how to design your web to solidify how you're going to speak to these segments, and how you're going to marshal together your social media campaign to make sure you have a strong funnel. Review this content and the next slide in the context of both your retention journey, building donor loyalty, and your acquisition. The biggest 2 challenges that collectively we think we have in digital fundraising is 1, build the funnel, 2, build up the retention. It's very unlikely that you will be able to fix both in the next 90 days. So be very selective and choose where you focus your target on. Are you going to build your funnel this year, or are you going to build your retention? If you want to build your funnel, it means you want to attract new donors to your Colorado Gives Day in 2026. And hence, you set yourself a target. How are you going to get there? And if you're going to work on your retention, that means you want your existing donors to give again, give more during your Colorado Gives Day. What exactly are the journeys that you're going to fix in your system so that you maximize that outcome, and what are the metrics that you're going to use to measure yourself against that? Those are the things that you want to think about in February, March, and April. Consolidate your learning, strategize, and then give it all you have in the second and third 90 days. So you will feel prepared and you will feel ready when Colorado Gives and Loves Day in 2026 comes about. Any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box. Like before, if we don't have time to address them now, we will address them in the discussion forum following this presentation. But I'm going to pause for 30 seconds so that you can type any questions that you have, because these are going to be the discussion forum questions that we're going to ask you to fill out. how often should be changing our donor web page copy? As often as you need to, but not too often in the sense that it is only one link in your entire journey. There is almost no point to change nothing else but only the website because what people see before and what people see after, if they are completely disjointed from what people see in the website, is not going to do anything for you, even if you have the absolute top-notch best site in the universe. The few seconds that they have in there is not going to make or break your campaign in 2026. So think about it as your holistic journey. Jordan, do you want to chip in there?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's a great question, a great point. Doesn't matter if you only change one portion of the entire donor flow if it's not connected. Yeah, I think also you can think about the embeddable form and how you can have multiple different embeddable forms on web pages. So that,
Yeah.
of course, could be one for major donors, one for recurring donors. And so I think in that way, you can leverage your website for more specific marketing and an experience specific to that group that you're talking to.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that I guess that was my other
absolutely.
thought.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the power of strategizing your journey design, right? If you want to build up your just one element of your retention journey, you can't fix everything. But if you know major donor is you want to fix this year, then the emails need to fix, their specific website need to be fixed, and their specific social media messaging need to be fixed. So you want to make sure that you fix the whole journey for those selected segment. And that's the power of being in the level up position, right? You think strategically about who you people are first and then how to streamline their whole journey. That's what's thinking strategically as a digital fundraiser. So it's no longer about this specific campaign or this specific page, but it is about the holistic experience that a particular segment of donors can have. Brilliant, brilliant questions we're going to address in the discussion forum. Just keep them coming. So at 9 a.m. this morning on the next slide, you would all have in your inbox an email from Becky. So please do check your email and check your spam mail that is going to read like your mini audit 2026 for Level Up Digital Fundraising. What's special about this email and the link in this email is every link is customized to your email address. So if you fill out your mini audit from the link in the email, all your previous answers would have already been put through if they're relevant. So you don't have to go back to 2023 and 2024 and retype your numbers. You can see them right in the box. So save you a lot of time. If you wanted to change those numbers because you decided that you want to calculate your numbers slightly differently because what you have learned, you can also change it. But as a default, what you fill out last year in June, they're there. So make sure that you use this link in your personal email if you want to save the labor. All right, that's the link in your inbox at 9 a.m. this morning if you want to check your inbox and your spam. And then on the next slide, this instruction is also typed in your discussion forum. On the next slide. So we will tell you that you need to complete the mini audit and you will need to use the link from that email you sent. If you didn't complete your mini audit, if you changed your email address, if you really want to start over again, you can always use this generalized link. It's a completely empty new link you can use to start all over. Any questions, email James. A Word version of this survey can also be found in the discussion forum. If you want to download it, have a think, fill in the numbers before you go online and fill them out. But once you finish all of this out, we suggest that you take the next 2 weeks to do that. You then, on the next slide, want to come back to the same discussion forum to think about how you're going to deploy your your second and your third 90-day period. because you're going to use the first 90 day to consolidate and to strategize. Any questions on the mini audit, the discussion forum, the plan for this month before we come back next month in March? I'm so excited, just to say. Awesome. Take some time. I'll give another 15 minutes in case, sorry, 15 seconds in case people are still typing. Today, the mini audit link is with you now. It was sent this morning at your 9 a.m. So once you finish the webinar today, go to your inbox. The link is already there. All right. So now for the rest of our day today, I'm going to go through these 4 learning objectives with you. What I will do is that I will show you a lot of examples that you submitted from your copywriting class and to tell you why they're so brilliant in leveraging donors' identity, speaking to the you when you think about the case of sport. When you are enhancing people's sense of connectedness, competence, and autonomy, when you think about your case of sport. When your case of sport is allowing you to explore the heart behind fundraising. So everything actually centers around the design of your case of support, but they pull all the elements in together. And even though all the examples I have today are from emails, we will use examples from other channels in the next few webinars to help you think about how they can apply in other digital channels. But for today, they're emails. And they're all examples from your submissions. So if at any point you feel like you don't want your material to be included in anything outside of this community, shoot Becky an email, shoot me an email, leave the information on the chat. We will make sure that we delete your example from the deck before we post it onto Canvas, and we delete any portion of this presentation in our recording. So they are not being broadcasted in anything outside of this learning community that we have together. All right. So when I go through these 4 elements of learning outcomes, all these organizations that you see now online, they are in hidden form in the slide deck. The reason why they're all in hidden form is because there are so many good examples that we can't possibly cover everyone's. So what we choose to do is to include your examples in exactly the session that we're going to cover why you are brilliant. So when you go to the discussion, go to the presentation deck, you look up where your organization is listed under the learning outcome and the heading, you will know why you are there. So you will know what you are already doing the best at. And if you were to strategize to build from where you are, you just look for the heading for the next section. That's the immediate next step that you can take to take where your copy is today to what is being covered in the next session. Is this clear enough? Do we know what the game plan is? So you're not going to see your own example quite as we present them, but in the slide deck, they're all lined up in the corresponding sessions. Jordan, is this okay?
I think so. I think that's great. Of course, we can't go through, 75 organizations and everything that they submitted. But it gives you guys the opportunity to really, again, in that 5 hours that you set aside, potentially just review what other people are doing in the class via the slide deck. All right.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
get started.
absolutely. Awesome. So the first 3 examples we're going to share are brilliant, brilliant examples on how you make the fundraising case support to be about your donors. So if you go to the next slide, this is still transitioning slide for me. Are the slides updating for you, Jordan? Oh, there we are.
Yep.
Early learning ventures. Who is from early learning ventures? Raise your hands. Send yourself congratulations and clap your hands. So I will give you opportunity to read these communications later on, but for now, I would like to direct you to the subject line. Tiny steps, bright futures, dot, dot, dot. It's me, Morgan. Congratulations. What a brilliant way of starting your email. You can copy because of you from anybody else, but you can't copy tiny steps and bright features. They're best practice that we learn, and they're best practice that I create. Morgan, congratulations. You created your own best practice that we can all copy and learn from, mostly be inspired by your creativity. The reason why I love this is because not only is a value-based ask, it has visualization of this value. So from the first encounter that people have with you, their heart is softened a little bit and their vision is lifted a little bit. Wow, how often do you experience that in your inbox from a group of people that you genuinely feel connected to and are around you? So build brighter beginnings this Colorado Gifts Day. You know what I've been thinking about, you guys? Like in your community, if all the organizations are sending out messages like this on Colorado Gifts Day and before Colorado Gifts Day, you don't have to call it Colorado Loves Day. That's how that day is going to feel in your community. It's going to feel like the warmest season in the whole year because everybody is being loved. You make that day very, very special for them. And then every child deserves a strong start. Brilliant value-based ask. Why is it brilliant? Because you're not asking in a educational cold and better than you way. You are presenting it as someone alongside of them, almost holding that little baby, cute little baby's hand as they're taking their little tiny steps. And you say, that's what they deserve. Absolutely, absolutely brilliant way to usher these value-based asks in a loving way into your community. So that's what you achieved in the top 3 line, Morgan. Let's all give Morgan a round of applause by sending the reaction emojis. There we go. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Congratulations, Morgan. Raise even more money in 2026 and prepare that journey really well. Every little tiny step. And who is from Spark Hope Automotive? Who is this one? Why is this so brilliant? Well, I love this because you're the reason a mom gets to work safely. Similar to the previous example, you are telling people you can be the reason. And this, oh, is here. That's Erin. Yes, that's yours. So again, you can copy best practice from you can be the reason, but you can't copy a mother gets to work safely. Brilliant. Colorado Gifts Day is coming. Help a mom drive with confidence. You know why I absolutely love what you did here, Erin? It's because you are not just presenting the mom as someone who has needs. You're presenting Jasmine as that hardworking single mom who just needs the Colorado Gifts Day to come so that she can feel that extra little bit of confidence that she needs. Wow, that makes the Colorado Gifts Day really special, isn't it? Because it's that day where we're uplifting those hardworking single moms just like Jasmine with that little tiny bit more confidence from things that we can do. And also, what I love about this is read this. The day her card broke down, everything stopped. Jasmine, a hardworking single mom, didn't know how she would get her kids to school or make it to her job. She felt the familiar pinch of worry. Bills, appointments, deadlines, all hinging on a car that wouldn't cooperate. I would say only people who really care about Jasmine knows about that pinch of worry. And you are that someone who really cares about Jasmine. And you are that person who helps your donors to get into the world of Jasmine that you're in with her. That's how you shrink and strengthen connections in your community. You become that channel and that bridge to help people get into the inner world of Jasmine that is not otherwise possible for them. That's what all your digital channels are. Yes, they are digital channels. Yes, they are technology, but they are a channel of the hearts that you are creating for people to enter into the worlds that they can't otherwise. And what I also absolutely love what you did here, Erin, is then you say, then help arrived. Not from Spark Hope, hello, but from someone like you. Wow, how humbling is that? That you are making it so obviously about your humility, but at the same time, about your donors. Who cares? And you know what you really, really did to care for your donors? Is you then tell them easy actions, easy actions. Just because these hard actions are necessary to take and they're worthy doesn't mean you as an organization can't take every effort to help them make it easy. Because that's how not only you tell them about the love, but you show them how you love them. And that is just beautiful. And when you say thank you for showing up for moms, again, you are not saying your gift did this, your donation did this, your money did this. You're like, you showed up. Wow, that is just amazing. And you are telling people you are already making an impact. Oh, that's not too quick to go to the next slide. Let's stay back there. And then let's wait for the round of applause for Erin from Spark Hope Automotive. Yes! Congratulations. So well done. Morgan and Erin, if you want to share more of how you experienced the reactions from your community, from emails you sent out, since last June, feel free to type them. If you want to unmute sometime later to share your experience, the floor is as yours as much as they're mine. I just absolutely loved what you created here. Thank you. And so if the first two examples are about, you are someone in the community, you can help somebody else in the community, you kind of have to get into their place to be that brilliant you. The next example allow people to appreciate their kindness exactly where they are. And that's why I love the next example. Jordan, if we go to the next example from the community foundation, gosh, is a bit serving Southwest
Southwest
Colorado.
Colorado.
There we go.
They're also
This
regional champions, so I'm so excited for this exam.
amazing. So, who is from the community foundation serving Southwest Colorado today? Please do type a message so I can see your name. Um, so why do I like this one? Well, because guess what? People don't have to go anywhere and do anything. They can just be where they are and they're blossoming. And that is great. What better news can there be? And you are telling them they're the change maker that every community needs. You didn't tell them, well, if you make a donation today, you will be the change maker. You're telling them that is already who you are. Come on. What do change makers do? Well, you show your generosity to your community. Is reversing that dynamic of doing something to earn an identity versus that is who I am and you see me as who you are. It's just absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And again, like full bloom, those two words are visual descriptions of the difference that you make. People can see it. Every donation today tightens the connections. Nonprofits keep our regions healthy, happy, and best homes anyone could ask for. So it's not just you are creating something brilliant. You're creating the best of that something that is brilliant, right by being who you are and being where you are. And that is absolutely gorgeous. And then you bring that to the level of a belief. So you're not just saying your action says this, your gift says this. This is you believe in the power of connection and in the power of being part of a community. And you put giving at the center stage of this community. So it's not like they have to give to be a community, but it's their belief that make them part of this community. That's the backbone of your community. Your kindness today in this PS helps us move closer to this goal. By this point, they can see their kindness. They know why they need to be kind, and they are told they can be kind, being who they are, being in the community. Then when it comes to PS, their kindness actually help them feel something, and it's not just 3 words in paper. And that is the power of building this up in the email text and then reinforce it with the PS. Absolutely gorgeous job. So have a moment. Think about your own community. Are you the kind of community where you do need to bridge two communities together? Is that what you want message to emphasize? Or is that community, are you a community where people can be who they are, where they are, exactly where they are, and that is help enough? For all the organizations that we included in the slide deck in this portion, those are the questions that you want to ask yourself. What kind of case for support am I building for my supporter? Where they are, who they are, so that their action can follow in 2026. That kind of reflection is worth about 2 to 3 hours of your time this month to invest in, because that's going to underpin every other communication you're going to write for the rest of the year. The clearer you can be about this kind of question, the faster and the more efficient all the rest of your messages will be, and the more purposeful and the more efficient you can collect your stories. And that is your biggest time saver. When you collect your stories, you know what question you need to ask to your content collection partners. So you are not shooting anywhere and everywhere just for their experience, but you're asking questions very purposefully about what is that pinch of worry? How do you feel when that happens? How does it make you feel when the help comes? Help me see, tell me a moment when the relief actually comes through. You focus your content collection purposefully on the case support that you want to build. Then that can go to your email, go to your social, go to your website, go to your stories, go to your retention, go to your acquisition. It can use it anywhere. But if you don't ask the right question in collecting your story in your content collection, you've got nothing later on to use. So you waste a lot of time in talking to people about a lot of things that actually are not about your case of support. That wastage you want to reduce and minimize as much as possible in 2026. Potentially by 2027, you minimize them. You only ask the question that you need to ask. So you become very effective in collecting the right stories. Now, a round of applause to our community foundation serving Southwest Colorado before we move on. Well done! Growing love right where you are and for your community. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're gonna wait for all the thank yous. We can spare the time. Oh, that is so brilliant. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Thank you, Morgan. So thank you very much for giving your donors the gratitude due to them. I hope you also feel better about what you do as a digital fundraiser and why you want to love your community and why you want to love your community this way. And that is what makes sustainable giving sustainable, is when we fundraisers, digital fundraisers, we sustain ourselves from the love that we built. So I do hope that you feel better about yourselves when you write these communications.
Was this really a self-care class? I love that. I mean, that truly just moved me. I'd never heard that said before like that. But it is true. You got to sustain your own love for the nonprofits and the people in order to push it out to everybody else. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people often ask me, is philanthropic psychology therapeutic? I was like, is philanthropic psychology therapy? I said, no, it's definitely absolutely not therapy, but it's very therapeutic. So I do hope love can be quite therapeutic for you. Okay, so now that's how we put our case support from the supporter's perspective. Note, none of these case support are saying, if you give us money, we can do this, which is organizational focused case support. None of you did that. None of the examples we included in this session did that. So bravo to you. You have all written your case support around your donors. Of all the submissions, there are only 3 organizations who are still using organizational centered case support. Everybody else switched to the care of your donors. Amazing learning outcome. Thank you very much for that. So now we're going to build identities to the use. If we go to the next slide, we'll see that we're going to iterate a little bit by getting a little closer into leveraging donors' identities and specifically moral identity. And then in the next slide, we're going to say how, when you zoom into one specific type of identity, you can then become a lot more specific in creating connection, competence, and autonomy. On the next slide, you can use your Colorado Gives reporting options to see how you are actually doing when you begin to implement these communications with your donors. And I would strongly recommend that you muscle up in using these reports to set baselines now, and then you measure against yourself next year, this time. Nothing gets done when they're not measured. So let's get to the hard data. Is there anything else you want to say about those reports, Jordan?
No, I think just a reminder that they're there. Of course, you may have other reporting to include, but there's reports and also in the overview section of your organization page, a dashboard that you can easily toggle. So just some additional analytics that are built in for you to leverage.
Amazing. And then so the specific identity, the specific psychological well-being will then come back and help you think again about your case of support. So anybody for whom your email was included in the last session, you want to think more deeply about your donor's identity. You move from the you to some specific identity of the you, whether it's more identity, it's joyful identity, it's creative identity, it's loving identity. We're going to see examples of more identities today. The next slide tells you, why do you want to focus on more identity? Because more identity, which sound quite abstract, is reflected on people's kindness, care, and compassion. If you use these words, kindness, care, and compassion, at least two of them in each piece of communication, ideally repeat a couple more times, then you are speaking to what people see as their more identity. Why do you need to use more than two words and ideally repeat them a couple of times? Because more identity is a construct. If you only talking about generosity, that is not people's more identity. It's one word, it's action. But if you talk about kindness, you talk about compassion, and then you talk about generosity, you are connecting to people's holistic sense of who they are. And that's what moral identity means. So in your emails or any of your communications, what you can do is you look at them and you count what moral words you have used. If the only moral words you have used is generosity, you need to think about adding at least one of these three words a couple times in that same piece of communication so that you can begin to talk to people's sense of moral identity. How do we know that? Not only because hundreds of psychological papers on moral identity that have been studied around the world in general population says that these three are amongst top frequency words that people use to describe themselves when they think about a moral person, but also we measured these words in the context of donors. So on the next slide, you can see in about 5 million donors that we measured around the world, we asked them these two questions. What are the top 5 words that come to mind when you describe yourself as a person versus what are the top 5 words that come to mind when you describe yourself as a supporter? What we found is almost with no exception, the proportion of the top 10 highest frequency words people use to describe their sense of who they are, they're moral words. I would boldly say that you don't need to test this yourself. If you want to measure this in your own database, my guess is that the highest frequency words within the top 10 of your highest frequency words, they're going to include moral words. And they're going to include more than 3 moral words. And if you ever do a survey and you find that is not the case, you write to me and then I'll change my slides. But I haven't had anybody who can find that kind of database so far. All right. And then amongst these top moral identities on the next slide, caring, kind, and compassionate are amongst them. And that's why you want to use those words. So these are not guess words. These are evidence-based words. And they are not just words for techniques, but they are strategic words you can use to speak to people's sense of who they are along the dimension of their moral identity. So let's see examples of some amazing work that your community has done. Why do I love this? Well, you can see care, compassion, generosity, kindness, 4 words. They're all moral. Amazing. In a very simple email, not only you have used these words, look at the title, Your Kindness Carries Us Forward. Who knows? 60 Plus Ride. Who is from 60 Plus Ride? Come on, type in your name and let us give you a round of applause. It's just so amazing. And I can repeat myself in everything that I've said about everything happened in the past, which you now can do on your own. Why is this good? Well, because it's speaking to people's sense of moral identity. It's visualizable. It's carrying us forward. It is best practice, but you have created your very own version of it. I'll give you time to read through them on your own when the slides are posted. But let me just point you to, you don't just give, your lift. You make ordinary days extraordinary. Gosh, who come up with this? Let's give them a round of applause for making giving so much fun. It is so good. Your generosity doesn't just change lives, it carries love forward. Join us on Colorado Gives Day to keep wheels of kindness turning. Oh my goodness, 60 plus ride. Yeah, let's come up with a creativity club and let's get together every month to come up with sentences like this. They are too brilliant to miss. Next slide, please. Why do I love it? Look at compassion, compassion, kind, kind. And how is your compassion and kindness make a difference? It's just so beautiful. The subject line is curiosity, joy, liberation. Oh, wow, you make it happen. Now, this is an email worth us all stop and admire for a whole minute. So I'm going to stop talking so you can read. Yeah, it absolutely touched my heart that we are connecting to donors to a joyful and curious little Thomas. That's how people connect with little Thomas from the subject line. That is how they see what their compassion field. And most geniusly, brilliantly, Thomas is kind to his peers and loves to help. Look, Thomas is kind. It's not just your kind. Yes, thanks to kind people like you, but you're helping a little boy who are exactly like you. And Thomas has been liberated to be that kind person that he can be for his peers and loves to help. And that's how we can help people experience that heightened sense of competence. Why is this heightened sense of competence created by this message? Because it's not about their competence. It's about the competence they created in a little Thomas that is not possible for them to personally experience until after their donation has met Thomas. That enriches their own experience of what being a kind person means. It's one thing to be a kind person to just give money. It's quite another to inspire the kindness in a little boy who was suppressed by a classroom environment and who now can be liberated. An absolute brilliant PS to reinforce that experience of joy, curiosity, and liberation that echoes the beginning of your subject line. So thoughtful, Emily. Absolutely brilliant work. For anybody who has not given them a round of applause, please go ahead, unleash your congratulations. Yeah, I love those hearts that already come up as you read the message. It's just such a lovely way of connecting. Thank you very much. Emily is brilliant. Thank you. And the next example is from Colorado Grain Chain. It's again like, oh, really? Grain Chain? What's that about? Read the message. You will know. You can taste it. It's just amazing. So again, I will shut up and I'll let you read. A minute, go ahead. Well, Colorado will taste forever differently from me if you ask how I feel.
Amazing. I got chills.
I know
You.
yeah, it is so. I mean that's how like I feel like Colorado Gives Day is gonna be Colorado Gives Loves Day,
Loves.
right?
It's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love just the way you're relating because when you think of the green chain, you're almost one step removed. But now I'm
Yeah,
not. I'm sitting in that bakery. I want to go
I
down
know.
and find the next bakery. Anyway, I just thought that was
Yeah.
brilliant.
Absolutely. Like I thought it's so special that they can make such an abstract concept so relatable into people's everyday life. And more than that, they make a everyday life experience so special. You know, they add colors into people's life that it's just not otherwise possible. It's just so beautiful. So absolutely brilliant. So I'm not going to repeat everything that I already said in Orange Box. You have all experienced Colorado Grain Chain, and I hope all of you become that very special person to discover Colorado special wheat. It's called white Sonora wheat. A taste of Colorado. Go buy some today. All right, our next example. So finally, not least, I want to share with you three more amazing transformative case support that honestly are some of the best that I have seen around the world in our copywriting class, in all the communications audit. This is not something that I only share with your community. If I have your permission, I would love to share them around the world because it can help fundraisers see just how much fundraising can become that vehicle for us to connect with the heart behind fundraising. So, similar to before, I would invite you to read the messages yourself and then we'll have a chat about why I think they're so absolutely brilliant. Go for it, Jordan. They create new identity, new community, but we'll go to the examples and we will appreciate them. So let's take a read. Oh, Emily, you're gonna be gone. We're gonna share your example last. Oh, we'll save the recording for you.
Love, I love environment. I love all organizations, but I love environmental organizations and seeing them transform how they talk about themselves. When you support Colorado Trout Unlimited, you are preserving the moment. I don't know, that struck me. It all is wonderful, but that was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as someone who has never once fished, I read this of that trout that you caught. I don't know how many people watch Foyle's War, but it's a detective series that a detective likes to do trout fishing. I could never connect to that part of the movie, but now I can. You know, it's like even for people who can't fish, you connect to them because you make the moment so close to people's experience. You paint the moment in a way that people can imagine the moment. You know, like you allowed people to fall in love with something that they can imagine because of what you bring to them. And let me tell you, in the research that we did with WWF, those wild animal wildlife lovers, when we ask them, when did you first fall in love with animals? Those moments are when they first fall in love with animals. Those moments are what makes them lifelong giver to organizations like WWF. So what are you creating in your fundraising communication? You are creating those moments that allow people to love the trouts for life. That might sound like a high order if you are not staring at this message, but now you are. You know that creativity exists right in your own neighborhood and right next door, right next to you in this discussion forum. It's amongst your peers. That's what you can all create. You can all create those moments. Who is from Colorado Trouts Unlimited? Please type your name, raise your hand. We'll give you a round of applause. And shall we say, we all love trout a bit more now? Oh. Oh my gosh, who could have thought that in a fundraising class you can fall in love with a trout? But you can. It's like the wonders happen every day to our lives. All right, let's read the next one. And again, I will shut up, you can read. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It created a community and it defined that community. So now, because this is the next to the last example I'm going to read, I'm going to provide you the opportunity to give your colleague who is from CDS Finance. Can you raise your hand, please? Type your name into the chat box. And then shall we all type in for her? Kali! Yes! Shall we all type in Kali in the chat box why we think she's brilliant? You remembered everything I've said, you know, making things visual, making connections, bringing in daily connectivities, make the case for be about people, reinforcing people's identity. Use some of those new vocabulary that you learned today to tell Kali why she's so brilliant. I'll give you a moment to type your answers.
I feel so excited seeing a financial institution talk about themselves in this way and also a consumable way. Someone already said it. I don't feel overwhelmed by anybody saying anything about collateral or entrepreneur, or it's still digestible, while also inspiring. I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so down to earth, isn't it? I mean, that's the beauty of creativity in your own community. It's not like parachuted outside from any, professional like creative agency. It's not like that. It's just like heart to heart, and that's it. It's pure and simple. Um, I think a lot of it's just giving us the freedom, like liberate us to be able to speak in this way in fundraising. It doesn't have to be professionalized to the point where only jargons can be used. You know, and it absolutely doesn't stop us from being so professional that we're going to make everything so consistent, so channel specific, so channel efficient. It's just Carly, well done. I hope it put a big smile on your face today. Hmm. Awesome. All right. We're going to look at the very last example here. And I'm so sorry Emily left. Should have put it a bit earlier. All right. Let's all take a moment and read this and appreciate what our colleagues have created.
Would you say this is moral, pulling on the moral identity, lifting them up? Even if I
Absolutely.
don't have, any challenges myself, I believe in equal opportunity for everyone. It's brilliant. Again, without too many words. I don't feel overwhelmed or like it's my job to save or help people. I'm just empowering them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It is so not donor is a hero kind of communication. And yet, like when people walk out of it, they would feel so much like a hero, because of this great community that they belong to. So I absolutely agree with you, Jordan. This is an example of moral identity because it's built on the moral value of inclusion. And it is creating that moral identity in people afresh by connecting them to this community in this way. Without being a donor to the Special Olympics, people can't feel this part of their moral identity and they can't feel their kindness and care and compassion in this way. So you are literally creating what they didn't have before in their lives for them by connecting them to this community in this way. That's how fundraising enrich lives. That's how fundraising makes lives more meaningful. It's not just to raise money for good cause, but to make lives of donors more part of a community that they believe in. So the quote is also absolutely brilliant. And the quote itself is create a family built on moral connections. So it went beyond just the moral beliefs of inclusion, but it added the familial love element of it that we have been discussing, right? So it makes a moral identity, a moral value that is not a head concept alone, but a heart concept too. And also the most brilliant thing about this is the way that they connect it to monthly giving. Your steady support, if you read after this become somebody's biggest fan portion, it says your steady support ensures athletes with intellectual disabilities have ongoing opportunities to train, compete, and thrive. Every month, every season, and every victory. Man, that's where my monthly money land too. my monthly money land onto every victory for this person that I care about, and not just any person, but this person I believe in because I want inclusion for life. You are this person's true family. Just all around, such a brilliant piece. So even though Emily is not here, let's still give her a big round of applause, because when she rewatched the video, she can stop here and just sit here and smile. So let's give her a lot of fireworks so that she has a lot to watch.
There's a Special Olympics 2026 happening. So
Oh, wow.
give her some more support for that. I'm sure she's busy as well.
Absolutely. Yes. All the love from your community. Oh, that's cute. Thanks, Christine. That's very cute. All right. So now we have seen all these great examples. The next slide is going to be what your work will be. Hooray! We've got work coming up. So today we started pretty much the warm up to our mini audit. I would like you to start your consolidation and strategizing for your 2026 Colorado Gives Day from your case support. That is the single most important thing that you can possibly create in your fundraising. But I hope what these examples have shown you is that you can't create a successful fundraising case for support without knowing who your donors are, what identities you want to reinforce and create, and how you can enhance their psychological well-being. The more precise you can be in defining these identities and these psychological well-beings, the better your fundraising case for support will be for the whole year. The earlier you can reach that clarity, the more purposeful and more efficient you will be in collect and design your content. So you don't have to feel overburdened with the frequency that you need to communicate with your supporters for the next 390 days. So I would like you to potentially spend some time, think through the presentation, go to the Canvas site, download the presentation, find your own organization where you are, and think about how you can build to the next heading in 2026. All right. And then you use your mini audit to think about what is humanly possible for you to do in the second 90 days and what is humanly possible for you to do in the next 90 days. Content creation goes hand in hand with your understanding of your donors. So if I were to choose, I would start with something that you can do for the second 90 days between May and July to really dig deep into articulating. What does a trout lover? Who is a trout lover? What are those moments? Who are people who believe in inclusion? Who is the banker who see people past paperwork? How do you define it? How do you communicate it? How do you highlight that community? Think through those identities first, and then think about who are the people you need to interview so that you can get enough content lined up for the frequency you can afford to deploy this year. That's how you want to think about your next 390-day period. Any questions? Feel free to type them in.
Do we have time for some open questions outside of the this next step, which would be in Canvas, before
Yeah.
we ask people to come off mute or ask questions? Was there anything else that you wanted to remind folks of as far as actions this month?
No, it's really like the minute you come off the presentation, you go into your inbox and find that email and make sure you keep it safe because it's your individualized link with all your previous answers filled out. So yeah, so just keep that email safe and potentially work on that for the next 2 weeks so that you can have time to complete your Canvas discussion forum. That's the most
Great.
important
I
step.
see Mara had a question. Did you add the colored highlights or did the writer? So I think in the
Oh,
examples, there was some
yeah,
color.
we did. Yeah, we
Yeah.
colored them. Yeah, the writers didn't. Yeah.
And then Kristen was just giving us a heads up that she didn't get the email. So
Yeah.
if we can, for anybody that hasn't gotten the email, what would you like
Yeah.
them to do? Email Becky?
Typing it in here will be enough because we
Okay,
will
great.
process all the chat. Yeah, if you haven't got the email, type them in here. And also, I was going to say is you would only have that link if you filled it out in June and if you are still using the same email, because
Mhm.
now that's how we're creating the pre-fill for you. So if you didn't fill out the survey or you changed your email in neither of these situations, you would have that individualized, personalized link,
Perfect.
to be clear. Awesome. And then the use of color and underlines and bolding, they would only be helpful if your words matter. So if you have just 30 minutes to spend, I would spend on getting the subject line words, getting the preview words, getting the first sentence and the PS right, so that you bring people into the right moment. Most of the examples that I shared today, they start strong from the subject line. So subject line, preview, first sentence, and PS, they're all strong in these very key places. Yeah, Esther, you're absolutely right. Content creation is now and forever going to be what takes most of your energy.
Yeah.
That's why the most efficient way is to get your case support, because then you don't waste the time for you to even get the content. That kind of time is just so much waste for absolutely no gain. It's worth spending some time to streamline that and to become more purposeful. You're absolutely right. If that's the only thing that you come out of this Level Up program, it would have been worth it because it's so core.
And I'll just mention, of course, this Level Up class and our big fundraising moment each year is Colorado Gives Day. But maybe this is too simple to say, but I hope you guys are instilling this in the events you already haven't planned. So a lot of times I talk to nonprofits and they think they have to do something new to become a digital fundraiser or to insert digital fundraising strategy. And really, it's just taking a look at your calendar and applying strategy to know who you want to target during those events or during that gala that happens, and using all of this. So thank you guys for being here today, and thank you, Jen and the ISP team. You guys are awesome, and you're changing the way nonprofits and individuals feel about themselves and talk about themselves. So thanks.